Vinícius sublime as Real Madrid thrash woeful Barca in Supercopa final.
Sunday's Clasico between Real Madrid and Barcelona in the Spanish Supercopa final offered the potential for high drama. But Carlo Ancelotti's side romped to a 4-1 win over their rivals that will give Xavi and company even more headaches to contend with over the remainder of the season. Vinícius scored a first-half hat-trick, one of the fastest in the history of this rivalry, as Barcelona struggled to cope with Real's pace, and even though Robert Lewandowski scored with a fine strike from the edge of the box to give Barca a chance, a late red card for Ronald Araújo compounded the Blaugrana's issues and ensured a tough trip back to Spain.
Editor's note: Kirkland and Sam Marsden break down the major takeaway for both teams. Real Madrid. Vinícius Jr. finally makes some noise after quiet season.
It's been a strange season for Vinícius Jr., overshadowed by Real Madrid's latest star, Jude Bellingham, and dealing, for the first time in his career, with injuries that have kept him out of action for a total of 2.5 months. There was no ignoring him in Riyadh on Sunday, though, as a 39-minute, first-half hat-trick, the third fastest ever scored by a Real Madrid player in El Clasico, set Madrid on a path to certain victory. Vinícius' greatest weapon is his pace, and he forms a high-speed, lethally mobile front two with Rodrygo goes, ideally suited to exploiting a high defensive line like Barcelona's.
His finishing has improved dramatically too, a quality perfectly showcased by Madrid's opening goal in the 7th minute.
Bellingham's clever through ball, spotting that defender Andreas Christensen had stepped up to close him down, leaving space behind, still left Vinícius with a lot to do, but he made it look easy, rounding goalkeeper Iñaki Peña before a straightforward, cool finish from an angle. His second goal just 3 minutes later wasn't quite as elegant, sliding in to bundle Rodrygo's cross into the net, but his third, from the penalty spot on 39 minutes, was another convincing finish. Rodrygo, Joselu and Luka Modric have all missed penalties this season, and so did Vinícius in preseason last summer. But this time there was no mistake, Vinícius stuttering his run-up before shooting hard and low into the corner. The Brazilian star was key to Madrid's fourth, his cross intercepted by Jules Koundé and rebounding for Rodrygo to finish, and he was the recipient of Ronald Araújo's red card challenge with 20 minutes left, too. In each of the game's major incidents, Vinícius was involved. His numbers so far this campaign have been unremarkable, at least for him: 4 goals in 11 La Liga appearances, and 2 goals in 3 Champions League starts, though this wasn't his first great performance this season. Vinícius was impressive in Madrid's 3-0 Champions League group stage win over Braga on November 8, and outstanding in scoring twice in their 5-1 victory over Valencia 3 days later. But this was a final, and a Clasico, in a high-profile tournament that marks the season's halfway point, when the serious business begins. He was substituted on 82 minutes, job done, the first trophy of the season secured, and with more challenges. A Copa del Rey Madrid derby this Thursday, the Champions League knockout stage, and beating Girona to the La Liga title, on the way. A fit, scoring Vinícius is good news for Madrid and bad news for any opponent who stands in their way. Barca coach Xavi Hernandez has fought against criticism this week, even claiming his side are playing better football this season than last year, when they won the title by 10 points, but his arguments are increasingly based on the past.
Speaking before the final, Xavi promised Barca would dominate Madrid by being loyal to the principles instilled by Johan Cruyff 30 years ago. He used last year's final, when Barca battered Madrid 3-1, as grounds for optimism. He even returned to a midfield 4 in Riyadh, the formation responsible for that result, but the personnel were not as good. Iñaki Peña, Sergi Roberto, Ilkay Gundogan and Ferran Torres replaced Marc-André ter Stegen, Sergio Busquets, Gavi and Ousmane Dembélé in respect to last year's 11, and the team's flaws were ruthlessly ripped apart. The truth is that Barca's standards have dropped after winning the league last May. They lost 3 of their last 4 games after winning the title, and they've struggled to recover them ever since. That is not just based on one Clasico whooping in the Middle East,
but on their body of work over several months. Losses to Madrid and Girona in La Liga have seen them slip 8 points off the pace in the league, while Champions League defeats to Shakhtar Donetsk and Antwerp further highlighted their problems, even though they did not impact their progress to the last 16.
Thanks for watching NY Sports News. Stay tuned for more updates.